Hi guys and welcome back. This is City Skylines 2, San Francisco, the alternative version, episode 12, and this episode is a giant disaster, much like our city and this spinny boy right here. So, he's out here doing his own thing. He's not hurting anybody, so we're just going to let him go round and around, I guess. But anyways, in the last episode, we built Golden Gate Park, well, at least our version of it. And I gotta say, with my limited ability and limited assets, I think it turned out pretty good. Looking hindsight, there's some things I would have done different, but I'm going to accept what I've built and move on, because otherwise the city will never get done, and I think I'm behind schedule. So if you like the way it looks now, you should check out the episode in the top right corner. That's where I build it. Shameless plug to get more views. But alright, enough of that. Let's talk about what we're going to be doing in this episode. And the first thing to kick it off is the exciting progression panel. And I put a little bit of thought into this, not a whole lot. But I do know some of the things I want to get is the server farm, because the internet is going to start lacking very soon. Because I think in this episode we're going to get a pretty big population boom. And then I want to go ahead and get the police headquarters, because with population comes crime. And then let's see, the other thing I think I want to go and get is the airport. We're not going to use this little airport most likely. I think we're going to get the international airport, but I had to get this to unlock this. So we'll get that, and then with 2 points we're just going to sit and not get anything else, because I don't think I got 2 points, anything left to spend 2 points on. Okay, so what are we going to do this episode? I want to connect this section with this section a little bit more. And I want to get this high school moved, because I don't like it being on this main road right here. It just doesn't feel like where a high school would actually be. So we're going to repurpose this lot of land. And then we're going to get some other stuff added into the city. And then the big main project is going to be adding in the regional rail. This is where I'm going to start really deviating. Oh, he just hit the bay. The poor fish. All the fish are getting dizzy now. Anyways. We're going to add some regional rail. I'm going to deviate from reality here because I don't agree with how reality is, and I'm going to make my own reality. So you guys are going to see what we come up with, and if you like what you see, do all the typical YouTube stuff down below, and I'm just going to go ahead and get right into building, and I will see you at the intermission. Alrighty guys, so I want to start this fast play off by first saying there's not going to be a history lesson in this episode. And the reason for that is my family experienced a pretty significant tragedy recently. I don't want to get into detail on that because that's not why you're here and that's not why I'm here. But with that tragedy, I just lost inspiration, and I frankly didn't have time to do any proper research for anything. And I just wasn't feeling it. So I'm sorry if you enjoy the history lessons. It's not going to happen this episode. Also, I didn't script this episode. Like, I didn't sit down and write any notes or anything for how I was going to do my talks. So this is literally just me sitting at my computer watching the DaVinci Resolve playback and just commenting. So everything you're getting is sincere and from the heart. So I appreciate your understanding with that. I just wasn't feeling it. I didn't want to sit there and write a whole script and just mail it in, so to speak. So I figured you guys would rather enjoy a sincere talk from a human being instead of words on a page, so to speak. I don't know if that makes sense, but hopefully you guys understand, because this is a really understanding community to begin with. The City Skylines community is always more or less understanding. So what it's basically going to be is me talking about what's going on screen, and with that in mind, we finally get that high school moved. I didn't like it being on that main road. It just didn't look right to me. It didn't feel right. Typically high schools are near main roads and not on them, at least where I'm at. So I got it moved off the main road. I crossed the highway, so to speak, and we're going to talk more about that in a little bit. I like where it ends up landing. It looks good there. The one problem I had was it was on that hill, so I had to play with the terrain just a little bit, but actually I think it turns out pretty good. I'm starting to learn how to make terrain work to my advantage in this instead of always fighting it. And then to replace where the high school was, we put City Hall down. So to do that, I clear out the area. I mean, I really clear out this area. Like, look all the demolition I'm doing. Now this is definitely some eminent domain going on right here. A lot of people lost their homes. But I wanted the city hall in kind of a central location for the city. That just seems to make sense. And this gets tweaked a little bit more as we go. I just want to make sure it's nice and center. It's facing that old park. I believe, yeah, that's Anchor Park is where it's facing right there. And I like how it ends up being there because a lot of city halls do end up overlooking a park. It just seems proper. So that's kind of what I wanted. That was one reason I wanted to move that high school. Another reason is I just wanted that central location for the city hall. Next door we put the police station, and then we use a retaining wall to our advantage. Again, like I said, learning how to cope with the terrain in this game. Because we don't have the mods and everything that we do from Skylines 1. So we have to make do with what we have. And then I just come over here and I start zoning some stuff out. I keep making the mistake of zoning on roads that I don't want to, so the houses face the wrong way. You'd think I'd learn my lesson, but I don't. And then what we're doing here is something I've had in mind since the beginning. We start our regional rail. For the regional rail, I don't want a lot of train stations for a couple reasons. One, I want it to be a high-speed connection to the outside world. There will be a few stops along the way, not many. Like literally each line will probably have one, maybe two stops before that main train station in the center of the city. Because this is come from the outside world, get to my world kind of thing. Another reason is I really hate the lack of train stations. I like the model for like a rural setting. I hate the model for an urban setting. I don't think it works in an urban setting. It doesn't look aesthetically pleasing to me. I also don't like how you can only have like 3 tracks. I would have liked them to have just 1 or 2 more models for this. It was really frustrating, but we work with what we're given. We don't have assets yet, and I just need to accept that fact. So then what we do is, this is where I start to really deviate from what San Francisco does. I build more outside connections for the city. Because in my mind, I think the city, and I'm not an urban planner, I'm not any kind of planner actually, I think they missed the mark by how little connections they have to the outside world. So we connect out here to what I believe would be the southern end, and then we go ahead and cross the water here where the Golden Gate Bridge is, just a little, would that be east of the location? Yeah, that's east of it. And to do this, we go under the water, and the main reason for that is going over the water, it created a million pillars, and I hate it. I loathe the look. It looked so bad. So I just let imagination run wild, and I was just like, well, they'll just channel underneath it, kind of like they did for the English Channel when they built, I believe it's called the Channel. I don't know if that's the actual name, it's the nickname, where you go from England to France in a train. So that's what I did there. It's out of sight, out of mind, and it creates another connection, because I really think you should have a rail connection coming from the north. I think that's a missed opportunity. And when I was like Googling that to see if there was one, because I'm not familiar with the area, it turns out there are some like very loose plans in place for it, where they're gonna somehow run a train with Golden Gate Bridge. I don't know how that would look. That was literally just one little thing I found. I don't know if that's actually happening, but yeah, I think it's a missed opportunity to not have a train running from the north side of things down into the city. So I made my own. So now what we're doing here is we're treating this highway like it's a river almost, in my mind. So we sink it a little bit, and then we rebuild it where there's a retaining wall on one side, and we kind of trench it so that the bridges for the city can cross over a little bit more seamlessly. Because as we've all learned with City Skylines 2, we don't have Move It, so I have to do everything via terrain. And I think it actually turns out pretty good, besides the aspect of, and I'll show you in the intermission, because I made the intermission before I recorded this overtalk. You'll see what I'm talking about in the intermission, but with the retaining wall, there's like gaps in it, and I believe it's where the nodes for the road are, and I don't know how to fix it. I've had this problem since the beginning, and I thought it'd get fixed with some patches and some decent working out the kinks and the bugs, but they still haven't fixed it, so I'm no longer going back to fix it, because it's like beating your head against a wall. So Yeah, it's very frustrating, but I like how we sunk that highway there. I think it gave us a better way to connect the city up. And you're going to see as this road layout goes, we really do connect the city a lot better. I really like the way it turns out. What we're building here, you're going to see it in a minute. This is going to be a big medical facility. We take I believe it's the medical university from the education tab, and we just set it right there. Now, the one issue I ran into building this, there it is. The one issue I ran into building this was it's a long asset. It's very long, and it would tear the train up pretty bad. So I had to flatten out the land just right to make it look decent. And then along the back, we put a whole bunch of the extensions for the building, and I think it looks really good. I love the asset. The asset does look good. It looks like an older asset that we had in City Skylines 1 that was on the workshop. I think it's based off of a real-life medical center somewhere. Watch, it's going to be somewhere, because I know I used that asset in one of the cities I built in City Skylines 1. So this area, I think it turns out pretty good. And I'm starting to figure out a better way to work with these hills into the city instead of flattening everything. I just accepted the fact that these hills are here to stay. And also, with the city of San Francisco, everything was hilly anyways. Like, I finally started looking up more images of the city where houses are basically almost at a 45-degree angle or something. They look straight when you look at them, but then you look at the overall picture and you can tell they're on a very steep hill. So I'm just kind of accepting that the terrain is going to do what the terrain is going to do. And instead of making it do what I want, kind of playing within the game itself, if that makes sense. So here we're just starting to make some of the connections, and I do like how some of these bridges turned out. I'm getting better with the road tools. I'm really learning how they function a little bit better and how to tidy them up instead of always having like a jumbled mess. So, it's progress. It is progress. But yeah, so with all that said, the other thing I did want to discuss is about the series as a whole. I think I'm going to finish this city because I'm enjoying the city for what it is, but I know doing another city is going to be kind of pointless for me because I said it before. What I liked City Skylines 1 was the amount of creativity you could have with it. You could build any city you want. And what I feel like in this, at least at the stage of City Skylines 2 right now, is you can kind of only build like 2 or 3 styles of cities. You either can build a European style city or a East Coast city almost, because even when you look at the themes for the zoning, the theme is on the East Coast. And then it was weird how they included a San Francisco Bay map but no San Francisco theme. Like, that was really weird to me, and I thought that was going to come out later on, and it still hasn't. And I'm just frustrated with the way things are. I don't have to go in depth with the other City Skylines YouTubers I'm sure most of you guys watch have covered that at great length, and some are going back to City Skylines 1, and some are jumping to different games. So I don't have to cover any of that. I don't have to vent my frustrations. Y'all have the same frustrations. But with that said, I do know I'm going to finish this city because I like to complete things, and I've never completed a city on YouTube. So we're going to complete this city, and then I'm debating what I'm going to do after that. I don't know if I'm going to go back to City Skylines 1, or if you guys would... Oh, wow, that was really loud. Someone drove by on a motorcycle. I don't know if you guys could hear that, but that was really loud. So anyways, finish this city, and I don't know if I want to go back to City Skylines 1 or try a different game. Because one of my favorite YouTubers, he's got another series he started, and I actually really enjoy that series, and it's making me want to play that game. I just don't want to seem like a copycat, but I think you guys also get that of, hey, I watched someone play this game, and it makes me kind of want to play it now. I think that's normal. He's got a toy, and I want to play with that toy now. But we're going to finish this series. It's actually not that far off. I think we'll probably end the series somewhere in the 20 episode range. I don't know. We made a lot of progress in this episode, and I'm starting to really speed up how I do things. The editing process is getting easier, especially since I no longer spend hours trying to do live play takes, because here's a secret. If I was doing a live play, if I didn't like a word I said, I'd just start the entire live play over. I tried to be a perfectionist so much that I think it was actually hurting everything. So now I'm just trying to do things a little bit more off cuff. But yeah, that's kind of the state of mind I'm in. I don't know exactly what the future holds, but there are games I'd like to go to. If there's a game you'd like to see me attempt and fail at, just let me know. I really want to keep it all on building sandlot kind of games, because that's what I enjoy. But I'm willing to branch out a little bit as long as the game isn't ridiculous. I'll probably never do first-person shooters. Those days are long behind me. My days of college and playing Call of Duty are over. I just don't enjoy the communities on those. I think you guys get that. But yeah, so that's kind of the state of where I'm at. I don't want to give up the channel again. I just don't know where City Skylines 2 is going to go, and I'm tired of waiting. But enough of that. I talk a little bit more about it in the intermission, which is coming up in a minute or two, but we change up the grid a little bit. I actually love the fact I changed up the grid. I think it adds some character to a game in a city that, in my opinion, this city was lacking a lot of character. So I go ahead and get some more of that added in, some variety, trying to change up what I can, where I can, and just seeing how things are going. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with how things are going for the city. The problem is I don't know what happens after the city. So again, no notes, kind of rambling here, but that kind of concludes that. If you guys are enjoying what you're seeing, you know what to do down below. And I'm just going to see you guys at the intermission, because I want to drink my cup of coffee now and it's getting cold. So if you guys enjoyed it, you know what to do. Alrighty guys, so it's time for another regularly scheduled intermission. We don't have a whole lot to go over in this one, but I do want to highlight some things that we got done, take care of some bits and pieces the city needs done, and then talk about what we're doing going forward. I do want to give you the heads up. I kind of caught a cold during recording, so if I sound different, it's because of that, but I promise I am not contagious. So the big thing we did in the fast play was this grid. I do like the way this grid turned out. It is not what I call a symmetrical grid. The lot sizes do change in different sections of this, and my theory behind that is as the city develops, they change their policies, they change their zoning requirements as they go, so that gives different lot sizes. Like over in here, it was probably really dense. They had a lot of people moving in, so they wanted to fit as many people as they could in a small footprint as they could. So they came up with this, and this little area up here by the park would be pretty dense because everyone wants to be near the park. And then as you get further away, you get bigger lot sizes because the land isn't as desirable, and they just want more space down here. And then from the YouTuber perspective, is I want to break up the monotony of this big grid, because while I love grids, I don't want them to all be the same lot size. I like a little variety. So I think as this gets filled in, it's gonna look good. I think it's gonna look good. It also leaves me some room to put in services later on down the road. One of the things we also did, if you caught it, is we sunk this highway just a little bit. There's a big hill here, so I sunk this along the side of it. And then we put some bridges that went over because you need to connect the city up. And I tried to be strategic with my bridge connections. I didn't want too many, but I didn't want too few. And I think we have a pretty good balance. I think we have a pretty good balance there. One thing that's driving me nuts, though, is these little sections right here. That's on, I assume that's the node of the road right there, and every time I load, it does this. That's really frustrating. I've not figured out a fix to it. I have deleted the road, redrawn the road, and everything. Every time I load, it does this. It's not just this road either. It's other key walls or retaining walls that I have will sometimes do that. But anyways, that's basically what we accomplished with our build. Some of the things I want to take care of real quick is I want to address, because you'll probably notice it, I went ahead and got the infinite demand mod installed. I'm not going to abuse that where I'm just going to spam zoning everywhere. I'm going to still try to be realistic and strategic with how I do things, but I wanted that because I'm more of a, I've said it a million times, I'm a city painter, not a city planner. I'm just playing the game to A, have fun, B, share with the community, and C, you know, make what I want to make. So just wanted to address that. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to go into our progressions. I put no thought into what I want because we're getting them so often now that I don't think I really need to be strategic anymore. So we'll just go ahead and get the emergency shelter. Let's see, how about a gas power plant? It doesn't really matter. You know what, actually, let's get the geological research center, and let's see, what else can we get? I don't know. Let's get the international airport for now, because I do plan on putting that in at some point. So I guess we can have that now. The next thing I want to do is I checked, and our garbage is doing okay right now. So what I think I want to do is I want to reclaim this land right here. So to do that, I'm going to pause the game and then delete our landfill so that this has time to recover its value and not be as polluted. And then what we're going to do is we are going to come in and get a recycling center, and I want to put it on this road right here. I think that's a good little spot for it, and we'll see how that does. Is everything lined up okay? Yeah, you know what, I might redraw this road a little bit. Give me a second to do that. Okay, I just wanted to fix that road. So now we got a recycling center, and that's going to more or less be better than a landfill sitting right here. And that'll give us time to reclaim this land, because in the second half of the episode, what I want to do is I want to start doing some of the waterfront stuff. And to do that, we're going to need the landfill out of the way, because I want to start building in here now, because this has been an eyesore for me forever. And then I'm going to build in here as well, because this has also been an eyesore for me, and I finally have an idea of what I want to put here, and I think you guys are going to enjoy it. But one last thing before we get to that. The last eyesore I want to address is this right here. Those have been here since before I had the mods installed, so I'm going to go ahead and take care of that. So what I'm going to do, pause the game, because that's how I always play this game. I play this game way more on pause than I do anything else. And I think we're just going to have us a nice little poop lagoon out here, so we'll just go ahead and put all that in there, and give me a second to connect all this up, guys. Alright, we got those all connected, so that's going to turn into a nice little poop lagoon. Then we can come in here and delete these real quick, so that I don't have to see that brown anymore, because that bugs me a little bit. So yeah, that's more or less what we were going to get done in this intermission. It's kind of an awkward intermission. This is kind of an awkward episode in general. But again, if you're enjoying this, and if you enjoy my weird talks, weird rants, and my weird building style, you know what to do down below. And let's go ahead and get into the second half of the episode. Alrighty guys, we are back from the awkward intermission to awkward commentary while I build. But you know, life is awkward, I'm awkward, and we just kind of deal with it and move along. So we start working on this waterfront property here. I've wanted to work on this area since I first touched this map. I've had a relatively good idea of what I wanted to put here. Since the beginning, I just wanted to make sure the rest of the city was taking shape before I started it, and that's that tower that we placed there. I'm gonna butcher this pronunciation, so please forgive me. I believe it's the Nasi Nuela Tower in Finland. If I mispronounced it, leave a comment below. If I pronounced it correctly, give me a high five below. But I wanted that tower there since the beginning because I think thematically it makes sense of an observation tower being on a waterfront property. I know that's not originally there in San Francisco, but this is our version, so we can do what we want. And my idea is that's a nice little tourist trap there. This whole area is going to be a tourist trap because we build out a whole bunch of docks and piers that you'll see. I'll talk about those a little bit later. I wanted that tower there so it can kind of look out over the bay and look out over the city. And I think it's a really good area for it to be in. I think it makes a lot of sense. But back to the topic of me mispronouncing things. We got a YouTube comment I wanted to cover here from a Mr. Moshe Cohen. This is in regards to the last episode, the Golden Gate Park episode, when I built what we're dubbing the Asian Culture Center, but it's actually in real life the Jinsa Junction. I probably mispronounced that again, sir. I'm sorry. Jinsa Junction. And that means Chinese for gold, which actually is pretty cool. I didn't know that. I didn't even bother Google translating, so I'm sorry. But yeah, so he wanted to get that out there. I appreciate the correction, actually, because I want to make sure I pronounce everything to the best of my ability. I'm very smooth-brained, so I'm probably going to mess up a lot of these pronunciations. I only speak English. I'm actually trying to learn some Spanish to be cultured, so to speak. I'm tired of being an uncultured swine, so I'm working on it. But again, language is not my forte. I tried to learn some other languages in college and it didn't go well. I almost flunked out of a class actually because of how bad I was at learning the language. But enough of that. We build out these piers and I have to use these pedestrian roads, and I'm saying that with air quotes because to me these are not actually pedestrian roads. A pedestrian road is a road where people walk, not where cars can drive. And if you watch closely, cars do end up driving on these roads, and that frustrates me immensely, and I hate it because I want this to just be like Fisherman's Wharf to an extent, and I just want people walking in the area. So we just have to make believe the cars aren't there, I guess, and it's very frustrating. But the next thing we start working on is some docks for boats. Can't really put any boats in here, so again, it's back to imagination land, so to speak. But we get these built out, and it took me a little bit to get used to how to build these, because what I would do in City Skylines 1 is I would just build out the dock. I build out one dock and then just move it to copy and paste everything and just place it wherever I want and then connect it later. It's also kind of hard to build these when you only have one pathway. So we just had to pretend the railings aren't there in some spots. But overall, I actually think they turn out pretty good when you zoom out. When you're zoomed in on them, it looks awkward as all can be. But when I zoom out, I actually don't hate it too much. So given our limitations, I actually think it turned out pretty good. And then we moved back to the land, so to speak, and I wasn't sure what to do with this little area here. This is what took me a while to figure out. But what I settled on is I put that big plaza from the parks building tab down, and then I just fill in some other parts and I put some trees in, trying to make this a desirable area to just go spend an afternoon in. I think it turns out okay. I'm not exactly like over the moon with how that area turned out, but it, could be a lot worse. I'm accepting it and we're moving on. And then this area, we just start filling in a whole bunch of stuff. In my mind, this be a very expensive area to live, so we put some medium housing there. I didn't want to do high density housing because I didn't want towers to obstruct the tower's view. Let me reword that. I did not want tall residential buildings obstructing our observation tower. There, that sounded better. I apologize for the word vomit. So I wanted to make sure they had a view, so we used medium density housing there. And then we just continue to work a little bit further out into the bay, just building out some more of these docks and piers. Thanks to the Anarchy and the road upgrades tool, this was a lot easier than it would have been without it. In the vanilla version, this would have been almost impossible in the sense of it would have been so frustrating I would have just not even attempted it. But with the mods and everything we got from Thunderstore, this is now a very doable project. It's not going to be at the quality of City Skylines 1, because I promise you, I do a lot better with City Skylines 1 because I'm a mod fanatic. So yeah, I've also, now that I'm thinking about it, I've been playing with the idea of showcasing you guys a city I built in City Skylines 1. I don't know if the city's still functional. I haven't opened up the save in a very long, well, since City Skylines 2 came out, I haven't opened up the save. And I've been debating going back and just kind of showing it because I'm proud of that city. It's not perfect, but I think it looks really good. And and I just kind of want to share it with the world. So if you guys are interested with seeing a City Skylines 1 build, it's already built. I'm not building any more in there. It's more or less done. I might play around with it a little bit because I miss it. Let me know if you'd like to see that, because in my opinion it is way more aesthetically pleasing than anything I've built here. And you know, it's because I kind of cheated the system, so to speak. A lot of mods and a lot of breaking the game. A lot of broken saves on that, but it's functional. I may open it up. It just takes 20 minutes for that save to load. I'm sure a lot of you get that anyways. Anyways, back to City Skylines 2 content. We continue flushing out these docks because in my mind there would be a lot of boat docks here that the rich people would come in and use along this area. It also just kind of fills the area out, makes it feel a little bit more realistic in my opinion. And then here I start playing with City Skylines 2 version of Plot the Growables. You still have to put the zones down, which that's okay. That doesn't really bother me a whole lot, but it is annoying that I have to do it at all. I mean, I can live with it, honestly. It does still make sense. We can't completely break the game yet like we did in the first game. But I use the European style buildings for this. And the reason for that, they just look better thematically in this area. My idea is I'll use some European buildings to kind of fill the area in, give it some different character and different look, because I don't really plan on building a second city, at least until City Skylines 2 catches up to where Skylines 1 is. So we're just kind of maximizing everything we have at hand right now. And also, European buildings look pretty good near the waterfront. Anyway, we start working in this area that's been sitting here since the beginning of the series. If you recall from the first couple episodes, this used to be the industrial sector of our city. Back in the olden days, before we had the Thunderstore, we finally got the ability to expand the city without playing by the original rules. So we just made our own rules, so to speak. Then we got the industrial sector moved in the cargo hub episodes. That's a 2-part episode. If you haven't seen it, I do suggest checking out. I'll try to remember to put a link up at top, but if not, just just go into the playlist, you'll see it. And the pollution in this area finally receded, and we're finally able to build on it and reclaim this area. And we build our version of what I believe is the Mission Bay neighborhood or South Beach. I kind of eyeball it from a neighborhood map I found on Google of San Francisco. So we kind of build our version. Our version greatly differs from their version. It's only Mission Bay in name, essentially, and the water inlet, which I'll talk about here in a second. But we don't have Oracle Park, because we don't even have a baseball field in City Skylines 2. Doesn't even exist, which is frustrating, because baseball is my favorite sport, and I wish we had it. But we don't, so we make do. And also, our version is going to have a bunch of skyscrapers. It's going to be very high density in this area. And the real Mission Bay is not high density at all. So there's some differences. But in my mind, this is a very desirable neighborhood. So they built dense and they built high. That was the idea and the theme that I was going for. Also, I wanted to get a bigger population going in this area. You're going to see we basically balloon from, 35,000 as I'm looking at it, to over almost 50,000, I believe, when we go to our live play. So a lot of people move in very quickly, causes a major traffic jam up on the highway that I just had to let the simulation run and let it figure itself out. But yeah, we put a whole bunch of mixed zoning, a whole bunch of high density zones in here. It turns into basically a skyscraper theme park, more or less. And then we just try to get some of the services put in before this area really fills out. You see I struggle trying to place the school here. I really struggle with that because I don't like... Okay, it's not that I don't like that asset. I like the look of the school. I think it looks really good for a suburban area or a medium density area, not for a major urban area. And the problem is we will need a school in this area because of all the people that are going to move in, they need the education. So we also run into the problem here in a little bit of where do I put the high school? So those are problems that we'll solve as we go. But yeah, as you can see, the towers are starting to fill in. I like the looks of these towers. I I think they look really good. I might have to rezone a little bit. My idea behind this was get the zone in, see how everything looks. We can always demolish a tower and rezone some stuff if we need. I wasn't worried about so much the final product right away. This is going to be, I'm treating this like an etch and sketch almost, of draw something and then just erase what I need and then go back and fix it. And we just try to get some offices in here, some mixed zoning, just to make sure they don't have to leave the neighborhood if they don't want to. Everything's right there. And then what we start working on here is a little waterfront walkway. This actually does exist in San Francisco. I can't really recall what its name is right now. I'll put it on the screen in the text if I can find a name for it. But I knew I wanted this as soon as I saw it on Google Earth. I thought it was a really cool concept of just, you know, a walking path near water. That's always good for a city. That's always good for a neighborhood. This game isn't going to recognize the value of it, but in real life, I think walkways and pathways near water is always valuable. I think it helps people immensely, and it just looks nice. Really good way to get outside. So yeah, we do rebuild that. We put a few, you'll see here in a second, we put a few more docks. We put a bridge to cross there. I didn't want a whole bunch of bridges going over this water, but one bridge is good because the boats would sail either underneath it or, using our imagination, that would be a bridge that could open up, a drawbridge. I can't think of the word drawbridge. It would either be a drawbridge or these would be boats that could pass underneath it. And this is where I started to get a little bit more comfortable with building the docks. I'm just eyeballing this. I got tired of doing exact measurements, and you know, it does make sense because you have different boats of different sizes, so some of these piers and docks would have different spaces. That's more or less all the commentary I have for this area. We just kind of touch some things up. I do some work off camera to make it look a little bit more presentable when we get to the live play. It's just basically surface work that I find boring, and I didn't want to bore you guys with it. But that's essentially the live play, and I will see you guys... No, that's essentially the fast play, and I'll see you guys in the live play. Sorry, again, I didn't script things. I'm offhanding this, and I'll see you guys in a little bit. Alrighty guys, so we finally reached the end of the episode, and I gotta say, I'm pretty happy with the way things are taking shape. I think we're finally getting a pretty good shape. So let's go ahead and recap what we did, and then we're gonna go ahead and get out of here. We'll just work from newest to oldest. So down in here, we rebuilt our vision of Mission Bay. We got a little water inlet right here, or channel, not really sure what this would be called. This area was kind of fun to build because I finally got some tall buildings. You can't really tell right now, there used to be a lot of open gaps in here, but with the surface tool and some trees, I filled in a lot of those gaps. We got our little peninsula out here, which I think these would be just amazing apartments to live in. We also got some of these special, unique buildings in here. I forget what these are called. The Rubrique apartments. There I go, butchering another name. And then the gatehouse residences. I can pronounce that word. And then they add some well-being to the area. So I think that area turned out pretty good. Over here, we rebuilt the Pioneer Park area. And I think it turned out pretty good as long as you don't zoom in. The docks and the piers look pretty good from a distance. They look acceptable. And then if you zoom in, they have some quirks about them. But the real highlight of this area is the observation tower. I just think the views you get from this are awesome. Like you like the Gateway Bridge in the back, the mountains over here. You turn out this way, you get the bay, all that natural stuff going on. Whatever is out here, probably Oakland. Yeah, I know that's Oakland, but we can't build Oakland. And then more water going that way, and then out this way, you get the city with some hills on the back. So I think the views there would be pretty dope. Pretty good. Over here, we built City Hall, right where the old high school used to be, and this area is going to take better shape whenever we get back to it. It'll probably be the next episode or two we work on this area and flush it out a little bit better. Got our medical center right here, which I think looks pretty good. I really like how we chain these buildings together. I think that looks good. Got our new high school location, nothing to really see there. And then we have our big old grid over here. I like the way this grid turns out. I know it's not completely symmetrical, but I already explained in the fast play or the intermission, I forget which one. The idea was different zoning for different time periods. And then what we're probably going to do is have higher density along the edge of the park because it's more desirable. Go lower density here in the middle, and then maybe race back up into the skies out this way. So yeah, that's more or less what we built. Not a whole lot more to cover. If I missed it, sorry, but that's the highlights. So anyways, if you enjoyed this and you like the way things are going, you know the stuff to do down below. And if you're not enjoying this, but you still want to interact with me, you know what to do down below. And if there's anything in between that I missed, you know what to do down below. So I'll see you guys in the next episode. Keep building, guys.